Hello, welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. We have 3 stories for you today. You want to fire me in the middle of my shift, but have me stay until the end? Okay, I'll bite. Sorry you said you were allergic. And neighbor tells another neighbor to call the city, so they did. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Alright, let's get started. Our first story. You want to fire me in the middle of my shift, but have me stay until the end? Okay, I'll bite. About 15 years ago, when I was about 20, I got a job at a new Panera that opened in my town. I worked there for exactly 5 days. After 2 days of working the salad line and making sandwiches, which was honestly fun, I was told I was being moved to the kitchen. I didn't mind because I love to cook and bake, so I was excited. For about 1 whole minute. When I showed up on my 3rd day, I got walked to the kitchen. I'm so stoked. I stop at the chef's line, but the manager keeps walking. I stop at the bakery line, but the manager keeps walking. He stops in front of the dishwasher. He says I'm going to be washing dishes for a couple days because they hadn't hired one yet, or he quit instantly, but I'll never know. I gave it my due best attitude for 2.5 days. It's a damn big pill to swallow. I suddenly realized the back end of a bakery or restaurant is much harder than I ever imagined, and I've worked in the back prior, just not at this level, so mucho pros to all you back of the house workers. I have always worked at counters, even in maintenance, but never that hard. And I started to fail because I was feeling dejected and being talked down too. It's my 3rd day of dishes and my last day at Panera. I showed up on time, and it was a pretty busy night, so there were lots to get to. I try so hard, but by then we're open, so freshly dirty plate tubs are coming back in droves. Starts piling up on the counter. Then on the floor. Halfway through my shift, my lunch is late. Before I go to lunch, they pull me into the office and tell me they're letting me go, like this: "We're so sorry to say, but we have to let you go. You're just not keeping up. But would you please stay and finish your shift first?" I was floored. But I did it. Just not with my due best attitude. I proceed to wash 1 pan at a time in the industrial washer we have. More tubs are piling up. My coworkers are asking what's going on. I explain, and they understand and support me, thankfully, so even more tubs pile up, now on the floor, before I even finish the pans. At the end of my shift, I knew my managers were going to have to stay and wash the dishes. But they were courteous enough and told me that, as a parting gift and thanks for trying, I could take home whatever I wanted from the store. So, I did. I think I spent over $120 on fresh breads and pastries of all delicious varieties. I gave most of it away. I heard from a friend like a year later that they were pissed about that for a while but couldn't do anything, which got them more pissed. It wasn't my finest hour, but I don't regret it one bit. The moral of the story is, don't fire your employees mid-shift but ask them to stay and expect any kind of quality. TLDR, I got fired mid-shift and was still able to legally steal from my sudden ex-employer. Our next story. Sorry you said you were allergic. Another restaurant story from a few years ago. I cook or wait tables depending on how long it takes me to get fed up with one or the other and I need a change. We always have to be very conscious of allergies in food service, as it can be life or death for some people with shellfish allergies, nut allergies, celiac disease, etc. Enter the gluten-free trend crowd. While I recognize that some people have a legit allergy, there are so many that are trying to be trendy. The big difference is that a person with a true allergy already has a general idea of what they can and cannot have and will start the whole process off before ordering by letting you know what said allergy is, which we appreciate as it saves time. No big deal. The trendy gluten-free peeps need to tell you 3 times throughout their order and then always end up backtracking after they find out that basically everything they desire to order either contains gluten or is potentially cross-contaminated. I was waiting this time around, and I started getting tired of hearing about it. We had a particular almost daily regular who would tell us every time about her gluten intolerance, tell all the people sitting near her about it, then proceed to order items that had gluten. I was having a bad day. She comes in. Does her normal speech mention being allergic to gluten? I say yep. Wasn't enough attention for her. She emphasizes what it does to her delicate system because she's allergic. She orders the usual Food is cooked and prepared in the fryers, which have had gluten-ridden food fried in them all day. I'm thoroughly annoyed now at having to listen to her graphic details about her gut and the effects of gluten. I, as usual, inform her that the fryers are cooked with items containing gluten. She says the normal "oh, that's fine." I have had an evil idea pop into my head. Ma'am, you just said you're allergic to gluten. I cannot, in good conscience, put this restaurant or my job at risk by serving you food that you will have an allergic reaction to. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to pick another item. She's shocked. Starts backtracking. I stand firm. No. I'm sorry, but I just can't do it. If you get sick from the food because I was careless about your allergy, then I could lose my job. These are the items you can choose from today. Calls the manager over. Momager backs me up after hearing the story. The manager was tired of her too. Lady indignantly orders one of the items I listed to save face. Obviously, no tip, but I don't care if it was worth it. Still came back 2 days later, miraculously cured of her gluten allergy. And our last story. Neighbor tells another neighbor to call the city. So they did. It happened a couple months ago in our neighborhood. There is a pretty run-down house with some inconsiderate neighbors. They have a large travel trailer that is too big for the driveway and sticks out 1 foot into the sidewalk when it's parked. It's not an issue as there is plenty of room to walk around, but the kicker is they always park one of their cars halfway in the driveway, so it completely blocks the sidewalk. They live in a corner house, so it's dangerous for a family to walk in the street around a blind corner because the sidewalk is inaccessible. Multiple neighbors, including myself, have asked them multiple times to pull their car into the driveway or park it on the street to leave the sidewalk accessible. They always say they will, but nothing changes. Well, apparently, they got into a shouting match with one of the other neighbors over it, with the offending neighbor telling the other neighbor if they don't like it to call the city. Well, the other neighbor did just that. The city came out and wrote a ticket for the SUV blocking the sidewalk and also wrote them up for the trailer that was too big to fit in the driveway, forcing them to store it in a rental space for $350 per month. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.